Right, so we're back for part 4. Now let's go talk about Bryce Street. Bryce Street is it's a neat place. It was a kind of a little small. It's neat. It's a small place, but it was neat, and it was quite neat. Would have kind of looked like something like a badge at a beach, but it was bigger than a badge, of course. But you know, something you'd see like at the beach. It was nice house. Well, I mean, a cool place, you know. Yeah, I had a strange scenario going on there. I was staying in the bedroom close to the back, which is, I had 2 sitting rooms. This place had 2 sitting rooms. It's so interesting. And where I moved from the front room to the back room, so I was in the back room, and I woke up and I could hear all the furniture being pushed around in the next room, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was thinking, oh no, we're being robbed. That's the first thing I thought. We're being robbed. What are we going to do? Or what am I going to do? I was the only one there. My flatmate wasn't at home. And I was thinking, oh God, they're going to steal his bike as well. And there was quite a bit of racket going on. There was the sound of furniture being dragged, moved, things being moved, and it just sounded like somebody was cleaning that room out. It really did. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to go out. And I think I looked out the window as well to see if I could see if there were people. I couldn't see anything. As soon as I touched the door to go out, it stopped. And I walked in there, and I was completely awake. Okay? I walked in there and there was nothing. Nothing had been moved, nothing. My flatmate's bike was still there. But I had left the door open, and it had been raining that night, so the concrete was all wet and grass was all wet, and there were no footprints coming in or out. There was no wet anything, nothing. So nothing had actually come in, and I was kind of like, just wonder what the hell. No, but I was quite relieved actually, because I didn't know it been locked the door. But God, I left the back door open. So then I had another one that happened in Mangapapa Road. It was kind of like a little bit like the same scenario. I woke up and I just heard this thundering running down the hallway. I was the only one in the house. I think the marriage was nearly over. And yeah, I was the only one in the house. This thundering running down the house and down the hallway. And I thought, what the hell? So I went out, looked around, there's nothing and no one, nothing there. But what had happened was, a little while, it must have been a month ago or something like that, the in-laws, one of them had tried to, obviously, must have locked themselves out and climbed in the window, and they pulled the whole window off, and the whole window came out, not the glass, I mean the whole frame, everything came off the hinges. So what I did was I just put plastic around it, and I looked at that and I was thinking, that was the first thing I put that, oh my God, okay, sounds like the hallway just had a herd of elephants going down the hallway, and then that, and I blocked it up properly. You know, I thought, no, I'm going to fix this up properly. So I don't know, was it something telling me, hey dummy, you left the door open, or hey dummy, you might want to fix that window because you could get robbed, or something like that. So it was like, yeah, it was good, but confusing. I was pretty stressed about the hallway one. I was a bit distraught about that. It was just, it frightens you. You get frightened when things happen. You don't know what's going on, you know. Just feels like just to get really confused about the hell of it. And, but one funny thing is that something happened. Like our parents used to say, once you go to bed, you're not allowed in the sitting room because it's the parents' time. And if you went in the sitting room, you had to have a good reason, like you were dying, or something like that. Had to be a good reason. And I woke up and I see this figure walking out of my room. So I thought, oh, but my brother was in another room. I was down the end and he was in home to the side. And I thought, oh, where's he going? I thought it was my brother. So where's he going? He's not allowed up. So I followed him, of course, and I followed this guy. And this guy fell into the sitting room. I went into the kitchen and walked right into the sitting room. And I walked in after thinking, well, he's going to get in trouble. And I'll just say I followed him. It's how it works. And I walked in and I just was met with two angry looking faces. And I looked around and my brother wasn't there. So I got marched back down to my room, showing that he's still asleep in his bed. And to not get out of my bed again. Yeah. And then it happened again. I woke up and saw a figure walking out of the bedroom. I was at my friend's house and he was in the next bed. And I thought, oh, where's he going? I got up and followed him to the sitting room. Because back then, during the 80s, I don't know if they do it now, or 70s and that, it was like, your parent time. You go to bed, you stay to bed. The parents' time for telly and whatever else stuff they do. And I saw him walk and followed him. Like I wasn't right behind him, as in both two times I wasn't right behind them, but they were in a distance of me. But I could see where they went. And then I saw this figure walk into the sitting room. And then I went round and walked into the sitting room and his parents were sitting in there and they go, are you okay? And I said, where did Simon go? And they said, he should be in bed asleep. I said, no, I just followed him in here. And they go, no. I said, yeah. He said, no, he hasn't come in here. And I thought, well, I just saw him. I was really confused, So I went back and he was asleep in his bed. It was real hilarious. But I was always having stuff going on, and because my parents were always telling me it's just your mind, it's just your mind, it's just your mind, I just didn't know what the hell was going on, kind of, hey, thank you very much, yeah, no, great, slam the door, but yeah, didn't know what was going on. So you didn't know, well, is my brain making all this happen, or is something truly actually happening? And it wasn't till later, I started to get confirmation from what I was seeing, especially at the hospital. I had incidents there, and it was a real interesting one. There was a poor lady who was not very well, and I walked past the room she was in, and I sensed two men in there. I could just see two men. I knew there were two men in there. And then I kind of like, I saw the families coming in and out, kind of. And then I saw her over at the shop, the road. And I said, hey, is it your family member in such and such room? And she goes, yeah. I said, she's got two men that are visiting her. And she said, yeah, well, no, we've family are coming in and out. I said, no, she's got two men. They're not living men. And she said, she couldn't believe I said that, because she said, that's so interesting, because she said, I think it's her father and her brother, or two family members of hers. She kept saying they were in the room with her. And she said, we can't see them, but she keeps saying they're there. I'm sure it might have been a brother or a father or something like that. And I said, yeah, no, they're definitely there. I felt both of them in there. And she was quite stoked. It's kind of confirmed it for her, and it confirmed it for me, And then I had when my grandmother she was not really, she was dying, and she was sitting in a chair, and she got into a home by then. She wasn't in a home very long because she was just really sick, and she was sitting in the chair, and she was kind of like putting her head backwards and forward, kind of thing. And I was sitting on it was February here in New Zealand, which is hot. It's very hot time, still summer, and I was sitting on the bed. She was in the chair, and my father was sitting in the chair across from me. And this happened in 2012, and I started to feel something cold next against me, and I knew I could feel it. There were two women next to me. And I had this feeling that it's her mother, and there's a sister. And I've actually just recently, not that long ago, so close actually, had it confirmed that that's who they were. They were beside me, and it started off with my arms being cold, and then I told my father, I said, there's two women here, and they've come to get Nana. And he kind of was looking at me like, where? And I said, they're right beside me, they're making me cold. It went from having cold arms to my whole body being cold. They were sucking the energy out of that area that was around me, so they were around me, and they were taking all that energy around, not energy from me, but from around me, so the air was getting vacuumed, and it was cold. It was bloody freezing, and because it was February, it was hot. It was a hot day, and I said to him, can you touch my arm? He touched my arm, and he goes, you're freezing cold. I had to put a blanket around me. I was that cold from the two spirits that were near me, and she passed away the next day. So, so as much as I always thought it was my brain and being told from my family, they just protected me that it was that. I always believed that, I thought, well, hey, I've just got problems, obviously. But no, and I've had a lot of things happen. Like at the hospital, when I was there, I ended up I did a lot of morgue work. I enjoyed that kind of work. I kind of like to be around the dead. And I know that sounds weird and strange, but I enjoyed that stuff. And yeah. And I had instances happen in there, which I can't really get too into, but there are stories I can talk about that aren't totally insane, But yes, but I will get into more stuff in the next video, okay? It's getting close to closing off. So, yeah, see you soon.